Awesome. So hello everyone. Oh look, we already have some people lined up. That's fantastic. Hello. So today we're going to talk about first answering all your questions that you have about immigration. So feel free to put them in the chat and I will try to address as many as I can in the time that I have. So good to see you all. And I am live on multiple platforms right now, but usually TikTok is where we get most of the engagement for questions. So feel free to put your questions online. Okay. If you are asking about a specific thing, such as what's the wait time for this, or how long does this take, you need to give me more information. You need to tell me where did you apply, for what category, at what location, or at least the state where you live. Because like this, if you're just giving me what's the wait time for, I don't know, an I-130 or a 485, it doesn't give me a lot of information, okay, that I can go by to be able to help you out. So the more information you give me, the more accurate my response is going to be to you guys, okay? So before we get some of the questions, okay, California Service Center, I-130 for spouse visa. So let's see, I can look that up. You can you go to CIS and you really just in Google USCIS processing time, and then it's going up with a website that says check case processing times. You go there and select your I-130 form. Then it's going to ask you which category. So you said spouse visa. So I'm assuming it's U.S. citizen filing for spouse, not permanent resident filing for spouse, because that would be different. And then you pick the location. So in this case, it says California Service Center, and you see the processing time. So you are looking at I-130 petition for alien relative. In your case, U.S. citizen for a spouse. Oh, you're permanent resident. So let's see, those things make a difference. So for permanent resident, it says 25 and a half months. So what's included in that 25 and a half months? So when you are applying for an I-130, I-130 goes to USCIS. If you're applying I-130, there are two reasons for that, okay? And if you're applying only for the I-130, you are doing it because, one, your spouse is not yet in the United States, or your spouse is in the United States, but she must go abroad to have her visa processed. So when they say 25 and a half months, what does that exactly mean? It means that 80% of the cases that they have are being processed within the 25 and a half months in your case. Okay, so when they say processed, it means the initial step, the I-130, only the initial step. So if your spouse is not in the United States, after you filed the petition, and as you all know, it takes about a month to a month and a half to properly file an application, an I-130 for a spouse, to properly prepare an application to do it right. And then you wait, they say 25 and a half months. That could be a little bit less than that, but let's say we go by what the government says. And it says 25 and a half. Then you get the approval. Once you get that approval, it goes to the National Visa Center. And before NVC creates the case number, it's about 6 to 8 weeks. So you add 2 more months to that. Then at the National Visa Center, depending on how good you are with the documentation, it could be another 6 to 9 months until it becomes documentarily qualified. By documentarily qualified, it means that the government at the National Visa Center accepted all your applications or your documents that you submitted and your spouse submitted for the visa processing. And now it's ready to be scheduled at the consulate. Once it's documentarily qualified, okay, once it's documentarily qualified, you are going to be placed in queue, in line, to get an interview at the consulate in the country where your spouse is. Depending on where that is, that could take a long, long time. Okay. There are consulates that have not been issuing visas for 2.5 years. As you can imagine, there is 2.5 years up until now, plus 25.5 months, from plus 25.5 months after that, plus whatever it takes to have it documentarily qualified. And then you wait. At the time of when the consulate is ready to schedule interviews, at the end of each month, they let the National Visa Center know, for example, let's say it's Bogota, okay? And the Bogota, the U.S. Embassy Consulate in Bogota will let NVC know, for example, for the following month. In this case, it wouldn't be April, it would be May. They would say 30 questions for the next month. You can schedule the next 30 people. NVC looks, the next 30 people in line get scheduled. Bogota could come back and say schedule 600 people. It really depends on the number of people people that are ahead of you in line to get that interview. So it could take a long time for your spouse to be here. Okay. So let's see hopefully that addressed your questions fully. And that helps you to give you an idea so you can actually plan your life. I know it's not easy and the wait time is long. It really depends. All right, I see a bunch of questions. How long? There was one with the asylum. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so let's see. Is Sacramento court good for asylum case or not? So the next question says, is the court in Sacramento good for asylum case? Well, there are a few issues with your question. First, when you say Sacramento court, do you mean you applied already for an affirmative asylum application? You applied for an I-589, and then that one was referred to the court, to immigration court in Sacramento, or you ended up in immigration court in Sacramento through other means, and you filed a defensive application for asylum in immigration court. The answers are different, okay? Because one is looking at it one way, the other one is looking second. It really depends on which judge you get. California is one of the better courts for asylum cases. Where I am in Florida, Miami, the denial rates are horrendous, over 95%. So you can't shop around. You can't pick a court where you are going to be. You're just going to be where you are. Now, if you move from one place to another, then yes, you can do a change of venue and move your case. But other than that, not much. Now, it depends more on which judge you get rather than which court, okay? So there is information out there and you can look it up. For example, you can do a search and see immigration judge asylum denial rates in Sacramento, and it's going to come up with a list of judges and the denial rates. And some of the denial rates or approval rates are available by country as well. So it will tell you, depending on where you are, your basis for asylum and so on. It will kind of tell you what your odds are. That being said, it's like a lottery, okay? You don't know. You could win, you may win, you may not win. You don't know unless you try, right? In the meantime, you should really talk to an experienced immigration attorney to see if you have other options, okay? All right. How they deny for citizenship and how many times I can go to apply again. So Jose, I don't have enough information in your question. Maybe you want to give me more. If you have been denied citizenship, it could be because you applied too soon, okay? You had perhaps a criminal case that is still open, or it was closed less than 5 months ago. It could be for many other reasons. You traveled outside the country too long. There is something on your 21-page application that didn't match your data or the government didn't like. Generally speaking, they look to see if they were right in giving you permanent residency, if you maintained the residency, if you are eligible, if you have reasons for deportability or removability. If you have a criminal record, if you register for selective service, are you current for your taxes? There are a million reasons why they could deny. We had a client who came to us after they were denied citizenship, and we did a Freedom of Information Act request. And when we received it, the only reason they were denied citizenship was because they had 3 prior applications, green card removal and conditions, and I think TPS. And there was a difference in the spelling of the names, one letter. One letter was different in each, and they doubted it was the same person. And that was the reason for the denial. Yes, we were able to file again, because it's applying again is much better than applying for reconsideration and an appeal. And you can apply as many times as you want to spend money on the filing fees. In some cases, you should not reapply until the good moral period is met. Basically means in 5 years, you have not had any criminal record, you completed all the probation, parole, whatever you had, you are current 100% on your tax liabilities and your child support payments, and so on. Okay, so you need to make sure you have that. If you need a second opinion to look at why your citizenship application was denied, give us a call and we can try deciphering that for you and help you out from there. Okay, let's see what else we have. Can asylum be approved without an interview? It depends. Was the asylum application approved? And you're asking if the green card after the asylum was approved, can that be approved without an interview? Or you're asking if the actual asylum can be approved without interview? No, actual asylum cannot be approved without interview. The green card after you were approved for asylum, that can be approved without an interview at the government's discretion, of course. How long does it take to respond to the RFE? It depends on the request for evidence, Ruben. So if you received a request for evidence, they generally give you 87 days to respond. In some circumstances, depending on the title of the request for evidence and the date it was issued, you might have an automatic extension of 60 days. It's not always the case. For example, there are notices of continuance that are called requests for evidence, but they're not. They're called notice for continuance. That doesn't apply. So don't count on an automatic extension. Generally speaking, you have 87 days to respond, which is why initially it's probably best to delay the initial filing of the application so you can have a full and complete application before you are even applying, rather than having a very, very tight deadline to provide something in addition to that. All right, so it will take 3 to 4 years to get the visa. Yes, unfortunately, it will take that long. I mean, I went over the timeline, I explained it to you why, but sadly, yeah, that's how long it's going to take. Just so you know, the 25 and a half months at I-130, that is 80% of their cases. That doesn't mean you're not going to get yours approved in 16, but nobody can guarantee you that or promising you that, okay? And then again, depending on how fast you move at the National Visa Center, if you have all your ducks in a row and all your documents are 100% clean, and within 60 to 90 days, you could be documentarily qualified. That cuts down the line. There is no way to speed this up unless there is an exceptional circumstance that you can try to expedite at that point, okay? We can try to look at it once you get to that point. At this point, there is nothing you can do. Yes, 25 and a half months just to get the approval of the I-130. How long can you stay outside the United States with a green card? Not longer than 6 months. So let's go over that a little bit. Generally speaking, it's not longer than 6 months. The reason you have a green card or permanent residency is that so you can reside permanently in the United States. So in order for you to reside permanently in the United States, you need to show that you live in the United States obviously longer than you live outside the United States. Now, there are circumstances in where perhaps you have a sick parent that you need to take care of, for which you are staying abroad for a certain reason. If you stay outside longer than a few months, you should apply for returning resident visa, which is an SB1 visa. And you should apply for that before you're even leaving. Okay. When you get that, okay, you should apply for a reentry permit. If you haven't done that, when you apply for the reentry permit, you apply ahead of time, you apply when you're here, you get fingerprinted, then you leave, they can send you the reentry permit outside the United States. But let's say you had an emergency and you couldn't stay in the United States to apply for that. When you are ready to return, you apply for a returning resident visa, okay, an SB1 at the consulate. However, for that, you must show that you maintained all your ties in the United States. So what does that mean? That means you maintain the residence, you are still paying utilities, you're still paying insurance, you still have your car registered, you still have valid driver's license. You are paying for all those things. You are filing your taxes as a resident, okay, in order for you to obtain the SB1 visa to come back, all right? So yeah, generally speaking, 6 months. You stay longer than a year, we have a problem. Okay. Kumar, my issue is USCIS approved my I-290B, but now you say because your asylum denied, you're not okay. How come? I don't understand. Okay, if USCIS approved your I-290B, okay, that means your asylum was approved. I don't know anything about your situation. So that means your asylum was now approved. So you are waiting now. If it was approved, have you applied for the green card after the asylum? Because the approval from that, here's the problem with 290Bs. When you are applying, there is no deadline for them to take the next step on your application. Okay, so this question that you just put here, it's totally different than the answer you had, the question you had earlier. Okay, and I don't know if it was the same person. I'm assuming it was. I don't know. All right, so if your one I-290B was approved, okay, then next step would be for you to apply for the green card based on that asylum. You also may have to terminate if it was denied by the judge, you have to terminate those proceedings as well. So the best answer for you, because you're not run-of-the-mill general case, and you did file an appeal, I'm assuming you didn't file that on your own. Your best source for the proper answer is your own immigration attorney. If you have issues communicating with your immigration attorney, you can always seek the help of another experienced immigration attorney to look over your case and to tell you what you should do next. Guys, always remember, sometimes the next thing best to do is to do nothing. Not all the time, okay? But you need to know if that's the best thing in your case. Kumar, hopefully that helped you. What are some reasons to remain in the country if you were on deportation and never went home? Oh, I can't even answer that one. If you have an order of deportation or removal, you should be leaving the country. Doing otherwise, you are in violation of law. People do that for various reasons, okay? They do it because they have family here. They do it because they are afraid to go back. So why do people do what they do? I've been doing this a long time, and it's very, very rare that I hear people doing it for the same reason over and over. But I guess generally most people do it because their family is here and they're afraid to go back. Rico, Okay, can I apply for my adjustment of status if I have a warrant for a traffic ticket? I would not if I were you. I would wait first to finish, clear the warrant first. Second, fix the traffic ticket issue. Make sure they are not, it's not the traffic, it's not a DUI case. Figure out what that is. And then make a determination whether applying for adjustment of status at this point or later is best for you. So hire a criminal defense lawyer to help you clear out the warrant and fix the traffic ticket issue, and then apply for adjustment of status. You do not want something pending or a case to be open when you are applying for adjustment. Well, somebody's asking, Neil, can someone that is banned for life in the United States become a US citizen? If you're talking about the permanent bar, nobody can become a US citizen until you are a permanent resident first. You cannot become a permanent resident if you have a permanent bar. All right. Patel, is there any chance of getting deported while coming back to US after visiting Canada? I'm on F1. If you have, I'm from India and have on F1. Thank you for clarification. You're from India, you have a valid F1. Is that status because you did a change of status in the United States, or you have a valid F1 visa stamped on your passport? If it's on your passport and it's stamped for DS, duration of status, you can go visit Canada and come back and you will have no issue. Deportation is when you violated the current terms of your visa, or you committed a crime, or there is something that makes you inadmissible when you come back into the United States, okay? So, Mr. Patel, hopefully that helped you. Canadian, can I get my green card with no birth certificate? Okay, we need to know why you cannot obtain a birth certificate. You can obtain a birth certificate online, and you will need a long form. You do not need the short form is not sufficient. Okay. You do not need a lawyer to obtain your birth certificate back home. If you need one, you need to hire a Canadian attorney who can file it for you and obtain it for you with a power of attorney, okay? If you are already here, you probably have a passport. You do need a birth certificate in order to apply for a green card, okay? But I have not yet had one Canadian who was not able to obtain the long form birth certificate. Now, if you're from a Native American tribe, okay, that is a little bit different, but you should still be able to obtain your birth certificate in Canada. Make sure you get the long form. All right, I sent a 765 in June on U visa. How long do you think they will send me the work permit? Oh boy, let's see. Look it up for you. Guys, you can find this information online. Okay, based on U visa. Others. And applied, but let's pick one. Let's pick the National Benefits Center. Okay, they say 8 months plus that. It should be out now. If you enter your receipt number and your date in USCIS's processing time, it will tell you exactly when you can file an inquiry, okay? Let's see. Texas, it's 10 months. So you might want to give it a little bit more time. But you can actually enter your date and it will tell you exactly when you can file an inquiry. So Abigail, do I have to have 23 tax returns? I have 20, 21, 22 applying for adjustment of status via marriage. You cannot have 2023 tax returns until next year in 2024. If you mean taxes filed in 2023, that means 2022. tax year. You should have that if you are applying after April 15th. If you are applying before April 15th, you can apply without having the taxes filed. Just expect a request for evidence, so you might want to have it by then. Okay, my green card expired. Can I still apply citizenship? Yes, you can. They just changed the rules on if you have that expired green card, they no longer that you file for an extension of that green card in order to file for naturalization. However, each particular case is different, and in some situation, we still recommend that the client files for an extension of that green card before they file for citizenship. An immigration attorney can give you all those answers. Neil Kumar, my asylum was denied. Okay. Didn't you say your I-290B was approved? Maybe I'm confusing the people, but that's what I'm thinking. But USCIS has approved, it's on the website. You can do a Freedom of Information Act request and actually get all the everything that has happened in your case. That's probably best. Give us a call, book a consultation, send us all your documents, and we can look at all that, okay? Yes, give us a call. Our number is 954-466-0070. It doesn't matter where you are located in the United States. We help everyone. Give us a call. The consultation is not free, and my team will book a consultation for you. Make sure you send us the documents ahead of time, so at least we know what we are talking about, okay? All right. My mom applied for her husband 5 years ago. They still haven't said anything yet. Is your mom a permanent resident or is your mom a US citizen? And I'm sorry, but 5 years for a spouse is way too long. Something else has happened in that case that you don't know about. No, 5 years is way too long for that, okay? Something else is happening. Now, if the I-130 was approved and she already passed the National Visa Center and the case is documentarily qualified, depending on the country, maybe they are not processing visas yet. But 5 years, significantly too long. Give us a call. We might be able to help your mom, okay? Okay. Asylum withdrew in court, got 485 AOS approved. Can I go back home? Any trouble during citizenship? Our general advice in those situations is do not go back to your home country until after you are a US citizen. Okay? It doesn't matter that you withdrew your asylum. It doesn't matter. The fact that you claimed to have past persecution or fear of future persecution in your country, and now you're going back home, will raise flags. Just don't do it. Wait until you become a citizen. You can go elsewhere. Do I really need a K1 visa to get married? K1 is for fiancés, okay? Getting married, it's a different type of visa. So you're not giving me enough information in order to be able to properly answer your question. All right, let's see. Oh, me and my boyfriend are planning on getting married. Do we really need a K1 visa? If you're planning on getting married, but you are not yet married, then probably K1 is the best option for you. If that is the best option, or it's better to get married and then come to the United States, depends on many, many factors that cannot be discussed here because you would betray the confidentiality. I would, and I wouldn't give you detailed advice on that. It might be best if you get married and apply directly for a spousal visa. Depends on your country, depends on the situation, it depends on many things. You might want to give us a call and book a consult to go to that. And by the way, to all of you here, you don't have to give us a call. Call any other experienced immigration attorney and talk to them. But we handle cases everywhere in the world. So in all 50 states. It doesn't matter for immigration, okay? K1 may not be your best option. I came to the US with F1. What different ways are there to stay in the United States and get the green card? If you're here on F1, first we need to make sure, have you ever had a J1? Are you on F1 or are you on F1 OPT? Where exactly you are in the process. Generally speaking, after that, we have 5 general ways to get a green card. There are more than that, but let's go with these. Investment. So you need to invest money to remain in the United States, a lot of money. Second is employment. Find an employer willing and able to petition for you. Family, being married or having another family member who can petition for you. Green card lottery, and asylum. Those are the general 5 ways to remain in the United States and obtain permanent resident. Can you travel on permanent residency if you have a felony from 20 years ago? I would need to have a lot of information about the felony, but generally speaking, if you have a conviction of a crime, regardless of how old, and you are only a permanent resident, if you are leaving the United States and that crime makes you deportable, you're self-deporting, okay? I would rather not. You might be able to, even with the felony, maybe not, you can apply for citizenship. If not, stay put and don't go anywhere. Have an experienced immigration lawyer look at your case to see if there is anything that can be done about the felony, to see if you're eligible for citizenship despite the felony, and to let you know if you can travel or not. Okay, it may require significant analysis, but at least you know where you stand. I have combo card. Great. I used it 2 times. Second time, a lot of questions. Very scary. Could happen again. Why? Because you're traveling when you shouldn't be. Okay? Just because you have a combo card or you have advanced parole doesn't mean you should be traveling on that advanced parole. This is the part that most people don't understand. An advanced parole or a combo card is the same thing. That P next to the CO9, okay, means parole, is issued by USCIS. USCIS is one agency. That agency specifically says that you have an application pending with us, or you have TPS, okay? And you have an application pending with us. If you are traveling outside the United States on that parole, we are going to consider that you did not abandon your pending application, and we are going to consider you never left, as long as you get back in. That doesn't mean the other government agency at the time you enter the country is obligated to honor that paper and say, oh yeah, we're letting you in because the other agency said so. No. It would be like DMV telling you that your Social Security you're eligible for Social Security benefits when Social Security Administration has nothing to do with your driver's license. So no, you should not have used that combo card. That combo card should be used in emergencies only, no matter what it says on it. Nobody should travel on advanced parole unless specifically told by an immigration attorney. If my clients travel on advanced parole after I told them not to, they are no longer my client. All right. All right. Let's see what other questions we have that have not been answered. I passed the citizenship test, but my case refused because I applied early. If I apply again, will they test me again? Could be, could be not. It really depends. If you already passed the first time, they will probably not test you again on that. They have to meet the criteria. So it's about checking the boxes. If you pass the first time, you're going to pass the second time. So who cares? You'll be okay. How does immigration tell you that you have a 10-year ban? They really don't. They expect you to know, or they expect your lawyer to tell you. Okay. Um, they really don't. It's not their job. And none of you should ever call USCIS to ask them for legal advice, ever. I have traffic ticket. Is it going to affect my case? It's not criminal ticket, just normal ticket. Okay. So here is the thing with that. It depends on where you are in the United States and what it says on the actual ticket. I just had a consultation with a client a couple of days ago, actually, and she says, I have two traffic tickets. They were on the same thing. One of them says expired tag, the other one, it said speeding. Okay. Well, they were, one of them was charged, it says there on the ticket in our state, it says infraction or criminal, and in her case one was infraction and one was criminal, but it's such a tiny box that she couldn't tell, she couldn't see it. So unfortunately, it's not just the traffic ticket, one of them, it's a criminal offense. You cannot plead guilty to those things. You have to see an immigration lawyer and see how it's going to affect you if you plead guilty to such an offense, depending on what else you have in your history, what your current immigration status is, what your plans are for the future. Your options may be plead, no plead, pay the ticket, don't pay the ticket. It depends on what it is. You cannot make that determination on your own. And the guy at the ticket clinic cannot really give you immigration advice. How long for us to receive the residency card after an approval notice? No longer than 30 days. If you haven't received it in 30 days, you need to call them. All right, so I addressed this question earlier, so maybe you weren't here. How long after your case has been documentary qualified, they schedule an interview? It depends on the consulate. It depends on your visa type. It depends on their volume, and it depends on the volume of the cases they have, and then on how their staffing. Okay, so let's say you are from Liechtenstein. I don't know, I'm coming up with the country, and they can see 10 people next month. If you are on the one of the next 10 people in line from that country, you're gonna get to see them. Let's say you are from a very populous country where they have two consulates, say India, China, pick one. After you are documentarily qualified, you're going to wait online for a while because there are a lot of people ahead of you. Okay. If it's a holiday, for example, for a month of December, if they have half of their staff is on vacation, only half of the appointments. If they normally schedule 2,000 appointments for that month, and in Shanghai, for example, if they only schedule 1,000 instead of 2,000, then you're going to wait much longer. It really depends on your consulate. Okay. How long have you been documentally qualified for? Maybe you have a way to expedite it. Maybe you have a child that's aging out. Maybe your US citizen spouse, I don't know under what category you applied. Maybe they have an extreme and exceptional reason to apply for you for an expedite if they are very sick or things like that. Dwayne, my son's a US citizen. He's going to fight for me and my wife. How long would it take for us? Okay, so if your son's a US citizen, it depends on how long you've been in the United States. If you're not in the in how you entered the United States. Depends if your son has been in the military or he is in the military. Depends what your immigration history is. If you are already in the United States, say you entered with a visa, you just overstayed, or you're here on a valid visa, depends on where you are in the country. It could take for less than a year for you to get the green card. Depends on where you are. All right, let's see. I think I'm up to date with all the questions. Green card stolen with my passport when I visited my homeland in Africa. Meanwhile, my card expired I'm assuming 5 years ago. Have you traveled to the United States since? Have you gone to the consulate to request a travel foil, travel document? You may have some options if you're still a permanent resident. Now, if that was a long, long, long time ago, you probably did abandon. If you go to the consulate, they will ask you to abandon your residency. So, did you maintain, Donald, did you maintain your residency in the United States? Because you said you were visiting. So, how did you get back in the United States? There is a lot of information. I need to give you better advice. How long for us to receive after approval? I already went to that. I have traffic ticket, more than 15 tickets, no criminal ones, is going to affect my case. If you're applying for citizenship, having that many traffic tickets could be considered against you as not having good moral character. It depends on the tickets. And it depends on how long ago. If you have that many, even they are not criminal, you might want to say you're a truck driver, you have some excuses, you drive all the time. It's different. But if you're not, you might want to wait the 5 years after the last ticket, make sure you don't get another one, and then apply for citizenship. I don't know enough because I haven't seen your 15 tickets. I don't know. Franca, my daughter, who's 21, a US citizen, petitioned for a green card for me. How long will it take? Well, Franca, are you in the United States? How did you enter the United States? How long you've been here? Or are you still outside the United States? If you are outside the United States, depends on the consulate after the initial I-130. So it really depends. How long does I-130 and 485 take now? It depends on the category, okay? Let's say it's a spouse petition, you live in Florida, your green card, if it's submitted properly with all the documentation required, you might be able to get it approved without an interview. And that could happen within a few months, okay? Otherwise, it could be years. I don't know. All right. All right. I'm on F1 CPT. Okay, so you are on CPT. Do you have an employer who's willing to petition for you? Hopefully you had an employer who was willing to petition for you and you filed for the H-1B lottery. If you didn't, you missed out this year, so you have to look at it next year. You might need to continue your studies first, or you need to find an employer willing to petition for you. If you're on F1, I don't want to assume. If you are single, maybe you are dating a US citizen or permanent resident, you might want to get married. I applied for US visa appointment interview in next year, July. I'm very disappointed. Oh, I'm so sorry, Syed. You should actually be extremely happy. We have had some people who told us that they were not able to get an appointment until 2025. So July 2024, not even that bad. I need a waiver for fraud. Do I do the AOS and waiver at once? Okay. Chin Chin, please do not even consider for a second to do this on your own, okay? Seriously, do not even think about it. Don't even consider it. You're applying for that. You're wasting time. It will take the government a year and a half to come to a decision on your case. And you're going to be wasting your application money and everything just by doing it on your own. It is complicated. Don't even think about it, okay? Yes, you need to file them at once. Is there any option to make early appointment? Well, not really, Syed. F1, married to green card holder. Can I apply for work permit? We only apply for I-130. If you're on F1 and you married the green card holder, why did you only apply for the I-130? Oh my goodness, give us a call. You need to apply for a green card directly, okay? We need to do the whole application. You could have had a work permit if you applied for everything. Give us a call. Mackie, okay? Can someone get married twice before getting their permanent card? Yes, I have people who are married 4 times. Yes. What is next after biometric for VAWA? After biometric for VAWA, hopefully you receive a prima facie determination that says, based on the documents you submitted, we are accepting your application as properly filed. We think it's approvable. That does not mean it's approved. And that's the next thing you're going to get. After that, you should be getting a few months after that, months, 7 to 9, a work permit, okay? And with that, you should be able to get a social security number. Myra, with your prima facie determination, once you get that, you should be able to get a driver's license. My I-130 processing time says 1 week until decision. Is it accurate? I don't know if that's what it says. It could be, but that's only a general estimate. That doesn't mean your actual processing time. All right. Oh, Mackie, yeah. Please just give us a call. Let's do it the proper way so you can get the work permit. You're going to run out of status with the I-130. You're going to have a problem. Hopefully your F1 is still valid. Emmanuel, I got my asylum 10 years ago. What? And not applied for my green card. Why? Why not? Can I just apply for citizenship? Absolutely not. You need to be a resident for 5 years first. All right. So, Neil, my information is in the bio. You can go there and you'll have all of our information. All right. I think I addressed all the questions. I'm up to date. The other ones are just repeats. So, oh, hold on. I missed one. I did a removal of condition a year ago, got the receipt with 24 months extension, no biometrics notice. You're going to get another receipt with 48 months extension because they take 4 years. If you're still married and living with your spouse, you might be able to do citizenship right now. Give us a call and let's see if we can do citizenship so you don't have to wait that long. And you don't have to have this handing, Can you be documentarily qualified before 601A approval? Yes, you can. Is it safe to travel on LPR who has misdemeanor? It depends on the misdemeanor. Jenny, got courtesy notice to send 693. Courtesy notice is not a request to send it, okay? It is not an official RFE. Yes, it is confusing. That's why you shouldn't be doing this on your own, okay? Give us a call. Book a consultation. Let's see if we can help you out, okay? A lady was denied spouse visa because immigration thinks she married and had a child for papers. A lady, I cannot speak to any lady. Is that you? Is that somebody else you know? I don't know anything about it. Maybe the immigration has valid reason to think that. All right. I think I addressed most of the questions. The other ones are lots of duplicates for some reason. I don't know. Oh, your lawyer told you to apply for I-130? You shouldn't be asking me that question. Maybe your lawyer doesn't know what they are doing also. It is entirely possible. I don't know. Okay. So Mackie, we can give it a second look. I don't know what they would tell you to do that because spouse of permanent resident visa bulletin is current right now. You can apply for the green card. Okay. And if you're not and your F1 is no longer valid, then you have more problems than you think. Okay. Is it safe to travel on advance parole? Nope. I tell people do not travel on advance parole. All right. So I've been on this way longer than I expected. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. I cannot stay with you guys longer. This is as much as I can do today. I will see you again, I think tomorrow. I'm not sure. So that give you guys today in terms of time. Bye.